Welcome everybody to the start of a brand new series, our first full campaign on the most recent version of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. We're going to play as the German Empire. We're starting in 1890. We're going to go with difficulty hard, which is there's normal, hard, and then like the highest difficulty. So we're not quite the most extreme difficulty. I haven't played a campaign in months on this game. AI opponent is going to be random, mix it up a little bit. Our goal is going to be to conquer as much of the world as we possibly can. We are going to create our own fleet from scratch to get started. And just to let you know, if you didn't see my announcement already, we are allowing patrons to pick the names and in some cases the designs of our ships in this campaign. So I have posted all of those the relevant information on Patreon. We've updated Patreon. We've got new merch available for our patrons on there, as well as all of the perks that are available. So the goal is 3 to 4 episodes per week until this series is over. And we'll see what happens. We're going to take it from the top, and I'm not going to show you every last thing that we do, but all the highlights certainly and all the battles. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. Okay, so we're starting out with 17 provinces and 0 in our fleet because we're building this fleet from scratch. My goal is that I try to avoid war for the first 4 or 5 years at least, because what I want to do is I want to invest heavily in tech. I'm going to max out my tech budget. So my goal is within a couple decades that we have pulled far above everyone else in terms of our technology. Right now, we're obviously going to be fairly even. So it's going to take some time to get there. And crew training, obviously, is going to be key as well. Right now, our max shipyard size is 12,000. I want to always be working on our shipyard size, making it bigger. So every 12 months, we're going to be upgrading. It's going to cost us $50 million to do that. We've got a lot of money. And our monthly balance, of course, is showing a pretty positive, but that's because we don't have any ships yet. So I'm going to start designing our fleet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a basic fleet, and I'm not going to name any of the initial ships with the patron names because I don't plan on those ships being around for very long. They're basically just going to get me by. So as technology develops and we get a year or two into game time, I'll start building those patron units. So, and as I said before in the announcement about this, if you pick a ship name, if I retire that ship or that ship gets sunk, I will replace it. So you will always have a ship with your name in the game based on what you chose as a patron. So we'll keep that in mind. All right, so my initial fleet, because I don't intend on these ships lasting all that long, and I don't expect to be at war anytime soon, we're just going to build some coastal defense ships, which are relatively small. We're looking at like 4,000 ton displacement. They're going to have some side guns on them, 10-inch guns. Just a little bit of funnels just to make sure that they have. I don't think we need that much. The engine efficiency is pretty good with just the one. Not a lot of speed, though. The pitch and roll is brutal on these things. We've got to do something about that. I don't think the range needs to be that high. Honestly, I'm not going to put too much thought into this because we have basically the bare minimum on everything as far as what these things have. Put a little bit of citadel protection on them. My goodness. What do we do about the pitch and the roll to fix that? I don't know. We can probably put some casemate guns on, but that's just going to make it even worse. All right, that's not going to work. I don't know if we're going to be able to use this design. And I don't know if we can put a centerline gun on this thing or not. We can if we put them right there, but then the tower's in the way. So what if we put two, like a 10 inches too big. Let's try 9-inch. There we go. 9-inch can go. All right, we'll do some 9-inch side guns then too. Actually, we'll go 8-inch side guns. That didn't help. The pitch and roll, I mean, these things are just going to be impossibly inaccurate. All right, I went to a armored cruiser instead. Went with 10-inch guns. It's not much better, but at least at 1,000 meters, I can get 16% accuracy, which is better than what we were getting. So these are going to be what we start with. I can't even go enhanced reloading without going overweight. So this is basically just, these are $20 million ships too. This is just basically going to be, I already saved it, didn't I? Yeah, I did. These are going to be the ships that we start our fleet with, but then we're going to start working on tech right away. So I might build like 10 of these. I don't think we should have to wait for that. So we'll build 10 of those heavy cruisers. Yeah, it's going to be 100% because that's what we're starting our fleet with. We're going to add crew to those instantly. Let's go ahead and go to research now, because this is where, for me, research is going to be key. I'm going to win or lose this game based on research and on how well I perform in the battles. So we've got a few things that are going to come about pretty quickly. Honestly, early on in the game, I want to focus on firepower and accuracy especially, because accuracy will be huge. So rangefinders and our fire control station. And then let's go big guns. That's what we're going to focus on. It's going to take a while for us to get to those things, though. So right off the bat, we've been asked a question. You visited an international weapons exhibition and journalists asked about your impressions. Our choices will hurt our relations with 4 different empires, but give us naval prestige. Get a lot of money early on, but some unrest. Or add a little bit of prestige and reduce unrest. I think we'll go with that for now, because we're trying to avoid war for a couple of years. I'm not too worried about the funds on this one. Yeah, we'll let the Austro-Hungarian Empire get mad at us for a little bit. So a bunch of different straits have opened up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the politics, take a look at the situation that we're dealing with right now. So right now we're looking at a GDP of $30.5 billion, which puts us ahead of everybody but France and the British. It puts us 3rd overall among those. We're actually not too far behind France. We're only about half of what the British have, though. So they're way, way ahead on that. Our growth is at plus 9%. You can see our army budget and our naval budget, our naval funds that are available to us, and, of course, our active fleet. The British and the French are the ones we're most at odds with, but I'm not going to do anything to rock that boat too much at all right now while we wait for our technology to work its way through things. All right, there's our first new tech. We've got voice tubes with whistle. It helps with our gun aiming speed and base accuracy. Like I said, we're really going to focus heavily on trying to build that accuracy up. There's a lot of little things happening, and we'll talk more about how land battles work and things like that when we actually get ourselves into war. You see all of our home provinces as far as where our ports are. We do have, I think, a few others. We've got down here in Africa, we've got Luderitz. I think we have, yeah, up here as well. We've got a few African ports right there. And then one over here. So we've got a little bit of that. We don't have anything in the Western Hemisphere, which is something we're going to have to rectify. So if we do go to war, it might be good to go to war with somebody like Spain, where maybe we can, once we have the range, go after some of that. And then, of course, we've got some Pacific ports way over here in North Oceania. And then one right here over in China as well. So kind of a little bit of everything. Those will be opportunities to spread from there. So let's go back to research. Control station's going to be a ways off before we get another one there. So I'm going to look for places where we can make some quick improvements, like gun layout would be a good one. New technology on gun layout, 7-inch caliber for secondary guns. We've also got new shell technology with the nose fuse shell, which is going to give us some high explosive shell damage and fire chance improvements. new crew training doctrine, which is going to give us a max crew training bonus as well as training efficiency. Those are all good things. Training, technology, those are the things that are going to make the difference on the battlefield. We're currently investing pretty heavily in everything because I don't have a big fleet, so I can pour a lot of money into things like crew training, transports, etc. Let's go ahead and, I think, come off of gun layout now. How about hull protection? We've got double hull bottoms that we can work on. That'll give us some protection against torpedoes. Like I said, shooting for probably about 2 years in before I start designing my first ships. We've got Mark 1 13-inch guns. The Mark 1 of any of the guns are not going to be great as far as accuracy goes. Right now we're at a stage where you still got to be pretty dang close to another ship to have any chance of trying to hit them. We're also working towards our first expansion of our shipyard size. The big key is when we get that first real battleship hull that's going to really allow us to max out what we're building, because we're nowhere close to that right now. We're a month away from enhanced turret cylinders. Okay, so we can stop focusing on big guns for a minute. I want to look at hull construction, or what about design? We want some new designs. Yeah, hull strengthening is going to help us with that. So let's focus on that a little bit. There's double hull bottom. That'll help a lot with dealing with torpedoes. Anti-submarine early theory 1. I should mention that we have very little naval prestige, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we just don't have much of a navy. I want to look at politics for just a second as well and look at the technology levels and keep an eye on those as we move forward. Most of these bigger powers like the British and the French and the Russians have at least 70 ships. The Chinese actually have the biggest navy right now with 85 ships. I, of course, have 10. It's not going to stay that way for long, though. We're going to start building some stuff before too long. Technology-wise, though, let's just take a look at the various powers. Everybody's at average right now, and it's going to stay that way until we've had enough of the game to where we start seeing separation in that. So we completed our upgrade to the shipyard, and we're going to just keep doing this every 12 months. So every year we're going to have an increase in size. Why do I do the shorter times? Because that makes it available to us. So if at some point I want to build ships, I'll have that available size a little faster than I otherwise might have. We're still gaining 13 million per turn. So that's going to last until we start building a decent sized navy. Rangefinders, we're only halfway to. Hull strengthening, we're a ways off yet. Lighter boilers are coming. Lighter reciprocating systems coming. I'm not going to invest in anything in particular because basically by not focusing on one thing, we allow everything to increase a little faster. So the one thing I do have to think about in terms of my investments is that our tech budget is maxed out at 100%, but the higher our naval budget, the higher the amount we're able to pour into tech. So even though we're putting our max amount in tech, that doesn't mean we're not falling behind on tech versus countries that might have a larger naval budget. So, for example, the U.S., let's just look at the naval budgets of all the countries. Ours is currently at $1.7 billion. So compared to the other countries, we've got about double the naval budget of Spanish. We are slightly higher than the Empire of Japan. We are a good bit, 70% ahead of the United States, slightly ahead of Italy, slightly ahead of the Austro-Hungarian, slightly behind the Chinese, behind the Russians, behind France, and less than half of what the British are putting into there. So at some point, we are going to have to bring the British down to size, or they're going to get impossibly ahead of us. So we're 1 month away from some new structural steel. Let's see what that is. That might be a helpful thing to have. Okay, what do we get? Lighter boilers, lower engine weight, new structural steel. Excellent. We're going to have to start thinking about building a navy before too long. I did say 2 years, but I don't even know where else we can go. We can get a 3,500 ton light cruiser. So let's speed that up, and in 2 months we'll start designing some light cruisers. All right, we've got our 3,500 ton light cruiser 3 hull. Should be available. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if that is in fact the case. Yeah, there's light cruiser 3. Excellent. So that's something new that we've got available to us now. This is all about speed. I'm not going to worry too much about range quite yet. Same with bulkheads. We're going to save some cost on that. I do want to get the crew quarters up a little bit. We don't have really any kind of upgrades available right now for propulsion. And we're still dealing with compound armor. We do have the double hull bottom now, but it's not going to protect us a whole lot against torpedoes. But torpedoes right now are such weak technology that they've got to get in super close to be able to use them. Same goes with us. We are gonna put some torpedo tubes on this thing. As far as main guns go, I think we'll go with 5-inch, but we'll do a decent amount of them if we can. Yeah, there's not much of a range on that one. We do need some funnels. Not great engine efficiency, but all the early ships are going to be like that. They're going to have terrible engine efficiency. So let's go ahead and take a look at our patron names, because these are going to have some. All right, so I love this first request. This comes from Razgridge Archer, and he requested the Stauffenberg. If you're not familiar with Klaus von Stauffenberg, he was the mastermind of the I shouldn't say, maybe he wasn't really the mastermind, but he was certainly one of the key players, played by Tom Cruise in the movie Valkyrie. He was the one who placed the bomb next to Adolf Hitler in July of 1944 in that plot to kill him. And so he says, it only makes sense for a cruiser to be named Stauffenberg. Long live sacred Germany. Those were Stauffenberg's last words when he was executed. So very proud to make this our first patron ship, the light cruiser Stauffenberg. So a couple more things we can do here. I'm going to do enhanced reloading on the guns. I don't think we have much in the way of any kind of upgrades. We do have base fuse and nose fuse. Nose fuse is going to be better for high explosive shell damage, which is what we're after here. We could probably add a little bit of armor. Not sure how much that's really going to matter. We're getting a lot of 4-weight offset, so let's try to balance that out a little better. Accuracy is not going to be fantastic on these guns, but it'll be good enough. And then our second light cruiser in that same build is going to be the Johann Jacob Dauber. That was Eric who requested that. His 6th great-grandfather, who was born in the Rhineland-Palatinate in 1780. Awesome. Proud to do that for you as well, sir. So those are our first light cruisers, and there will always be light cruisers with those names in this playthrough all the way through to the finish. Just the technology is going to get better over time. We've got 2 more, and this is all of the currently requested patron light cruisers. We've got the Rotterdam. Kieran asked for that since his dad immigrated from the Netherlands on the Rotterdam. And then we had Dalton, who requested the Anne Frank, or Anne Frank, as she would have been in German. Proud to do that for both of you guys. So, I got to say that having these patron ships makes me a lot more reluctant to risk them, because I don't want anything to happen to them, because they're not just nameless, faceless things. They mean something now. So hopefully I can take good care of these ships. So we know that, also I should notice that you don't see me on the screen anymore. I thought it was just better to let you guys see what's happening on the screen than to see my face the whole time. Spain has no battleships, so that makes me feel a little better about taking them on as my first target. Plus they're creeping toward war with the United States. So we're going to start increasing tension with the Spanish. It's going to take a while, as we actually have a better relationship with them than any country on the map at the moment. So it's going to take some time. So that's why I'm starting now. They're close enough to where we could maybe take some Mediterranean targets, which is kind of what I'm thinking I might be after, is maybe a couple of Mediterranean ports. But we'll see. I thought about going after Russia since we border them and they're super close and it's a natural kind of opposition. And maybe that's who we end up taking on first. But my concern with them is they have 12 battleships and we don't have any yet. And we're not going to have any, at least for a couple more years. So Coincidence Rangefinder is about to be completed. We're working on hull construction. We'll see what comes next. So we did hurt relations with the Spanish Empire, but it also dropped our naval prestige, which let's take a look now at politics and see where we're at on that. Our prestige is now at -6, which is accepted. We do have to watch on the people, make sure that there's not too much unrest. We don't want to have a revolution in our own country. We're doing okay, though, otherwise. We are going to need some battleships before too long, but I really don't want to build battleships that are basically a waste before we have some real technology for those. Problem is it's going to take over a year to build battleships when we do start building them. Okay, the press is concerned about our country's defense capability and demands the construction of an additional battleship. All members of the government are gathered to discuss the issue. If we say yes, we get $427 million in naval funds. I guess we should probably build a battleship, even though I don't like... we got $1.2 billion in naval funds. I'm worried if we don't spend it, we're going to start having an issue there. I'm going to max out all of our spending that we have right now. We're still gaining 15 million per turn. So, what are we close to? Improve structural steel. I need to build something. So, we'll go ahead and get some battleship design going. The battleships we can build right now are terrible. So I'm really just going to do an auto build on something. It's going to cost $50 million just to build one of these darn things. And it's only got 11-inch guns, Mark 1s. Terrible, terrible stuff. We're definitely not going to do any of our patron battleships with this until we get some real designs. I don't plan on using these to fight anytime soon. All right, so it's the Baden, and I think we'll build... we'll build 3 of them just because we need some desperately. I'm putting all of my new ships in either Hamburg or Emden for now. Not anywhere out in the Pacific or Africa or anything like that. So do we now have the Battleship 3 hull available? Because if so, that really sucks that we didn't wait to be able to build that. I don't know if we actually do or not. Sometimes it tells you these things are available, but then they're not. Battleship 3 is not a huge difference. It's got a bigger displacement. It's definitely better than what we had, but it's still not great. But let's see what we can come up with. We can go all the way up to, right now, 15.5 is the biggest we can go. What's the max on one of these? 17,000. So if we waited a little bit for our current upgrades to be done, we could actually do that. But we'll go standard quarters. We still don't have any upgrades on any of this stuff, but these will at least be better than the battleships that I just decided to crank out. We'll go with the best technology that we've currently got available on towers. What kind of guns? I think we can go 13s. The accuracy on those could be as high as 28% at 1,000 meters. I think we've got the weight to be able to do that. We do. Now we need some funnels. We can do 3 funnels. Engine efficiency is actually decent, which is, well, that's because our speed's so bad. That's not terrible engine efficiency, really. We do need some secondaries on this thing. Can we put 7-inch guns on here? No, we can't. How about some 5s? We could put some 5s across the side. That'll be nice. Don't think we... Oh, we do have gun cotton now. That'd be a nice upgrade. We do have the Coincidence Rangefinder, which will help a lot with accuracy. I think we'll stick with everything as far as the shells go. Yep, we're good there. All right, that's not bad. I don't think we need to worry about torpedoes on this thing. Let's add a little bit of Citadel armor, as much as we can. And then we'll try to balance out the pitch and roll a little bit by adding some belt armor. Maybe a little bit of main deck armor too. Try to get some more protection on this thing as best we can. We're going to be in close enough that I don't think deck armor is going to... We're not worried too much about plunging fire on this thing. It's going to cost $80 million for one of these. It's not a bad ship, though. Okay, so it's not a particularly German name, but nobody said it had to be for these patron requests. It can be really whatever you want. So Robert has asked for the Jane Lu. That will be the battleship that we roll out, our first kind of top of the line battleship, at least with the current technology. Of course, technology is going to change fast, so every battleship we build is going to be slightly better as far as that technology goes. But let's go ahead and build 3 Jane Lu class battleships. And again, for now anyway, we're going to put them in Hamburg and Emden. We might eventually move them to other places. But so we've got 5 battleships in the works. 3 of them will be done in 10 months. 3 more will be done in 16 months. New technology for heavy cruisers. We can get up to 4,500 tons on those. We are going to start building some heavy cruisers before too long. We did further deteriorate relations with the Spanish. We still have a long way to go to get toward war, though. We're at minus 31 now. They're at minus 80 with the U.S. and minus 56 with the Russians. Looking at research, we have nickel steel armor almost complete. That'll be a nice addition. Triple expansion steam engine is also coming. Like I said, technology is happening so rapidly that every time we get something built, it's already out. It's already obsolete, and that is really how things happened at the time with all of this land kind of happening the way it did. There's that nickel steel armor, 40% addition to armor strength. It costs more, but it weighs less and it's stronger. It's big technology. I am trying to hurt my relationships with the Russians as well, just kind of thinking long term, and I kind of go back and forth between the Spanish and the Russians as far as damaging my relationship. First battleships are going to roll off the assembly line here in 2 months. They're already obsolete, which we kind of expected. Right now, all of our fleet is set to in being rather than sea control because we're not at war, so there's no reason to have them out there in any kind of sea control capacity. Big advance in engine technology with the triple expansion engine. Things did not work with provoking the Spanish, which all it did instead was hurt my prestige further. I'm at minus 28 now in naval prestige, which means we're disrespected. I'm going to try to improve relations with some other countries and hope that maybe that will help with some of that. We're going to actually try to get along with the British for now anyway. Not quite ready to take them on anyhow. And I think for now, that's about all we're going to do as far as research. We'll just kind of let everything go. So I've gone in and taken a look at what it would cost to refit my existing ships. In this case, the Baden class, which just rolled off the assembly line, basically. I'm surprised we can add nickel steel armor. Surprised we can change the armor, but we're going to go with it. So we're going to add nickel steel armor and the triple expansion steam engine. I think that's all we have the ability to do because we already have the rangefinder upgraded on there. So let's go ahead and save that design. And then we'll go ahead and order that refit already on ships that just rolled out. But you know what? Sometimes that's the way you got to do things to kind of keep it going. So let's refit both of these ships. Oh, you know what? They might actually still be... Yeah, they're a month away from commissioning. So as soon as they're commissioned, we're going to refit them. All right, we have our first war. It's between Japan and China. So that'll be interesting. Our naval prestige takes another hit. We got to slow down on trying to rile up the Spanish because it's killing our naval prestige, which is minus 35 now, which I guess isn't any worse than Japan's, and actually Spain's is even worse. So maybe it's not as big a deal as I thought. It's trying to increase tension with the Russians as well. Taking a look at the fleet, the refit's almost complete with the Baden-class ships. We're 3 months away from the Jane Liu class from being available to us. Taking a look at our Jane Liu class light cruisers, and we're making some upgrades here. We're going to add the Coincidence rangefinder, add the ability to lay mines, and then we're adding the nickel steel armor and the triple expansion engines. So all of that, and actually we've got some room here to... Could we add a third funnel? Let's see, this one is funnel capacity 6, that one's 8. So 3 of these would be better than 2 of the other kind. I don't think we can do 4 of them. No, we can't. Can we do 3 of these? No, we can't. That one's 7. We can do 3 of those. That'd give us 21. That's better. Okay, we'll do that. So that is a refit modal. First I said mod and then modal. I meant model, a refit model. So we'll go ahead and upgrade all 4 of our Stauffenberg class light cruisers. It's going to take 2 months to do that. We certainly have the money for it. Well, there's war with the U.S. and Spain. We saw it coming, but it happened a little sooner than expected. I'm hoping that this will hurt us. Oh, it does. Hurts us with the Spanish. Does that get us close to war ourselves? Let's go ahead and take a look at politics and where we stand now. We're at minus 77 with the Spanish. We're not doing much better with pretty much anybody else. Really, the Italians are our only big-time friends. We could probably improve relations with them further, but right now I want to increase tension with the Spanish because we're getting close. We need to start cranking out some more battleships, though. No other technology is real close. I do have the refit on the Jane Liu's. I could probably use some more light cruisers. Let's go ahead and build some more of the upgraded Stauffenberg design. Take a look at that. Oh, you know what? It won't let me just build the refit version. We have to build the originals and then refit them. I guess that's probably how we have to do that. So what I did was I just copied the Stauffenberg class, the Stauffenberg 2 class. So it's got everything that one has, but I added some 3-inch guns, 6 3-inch guns on the sides. So we're going to go ahead and crank out, let's say 5 of those to start. And we'll, again, assign those to the same ports. Well, you know what? Hamburg is getting pretty close on how many ships it can have. So I think we probably need to start thinking about other ports as well and putting some ships there. Like Cameroon, we have nothing out there right now. So let's get a couple of things going down in Africa. We'll add some of these down there. Okay, it's time to build some updated heavy cruisers. And now that we've got the ability to build not only triple steam engine and nickel steel armor, but now we've got induced boilers, which help our funnel capacity. We can hit over 100% engine efficiency now. And that's going to allow us to build a decent little ship here. It's got 8-inch Mark II or Mark 1s, but we've also added some 3-inch guns here. I wanted to put some torpedo launchers on there, but I just don't have the available weight. But for an armored cruiser, we've got a decent amount of belt and deck armor, at least for the time period. And it'll be a good kind of hold us over until we can get something a little better with new technology. But I think that's a decent ship. And Graham has asked us to build the Kent. Of course, it would be the HMS Kent if it was British, but in this case, it's going to be the German Navy, and it's a Monmouth-class armored cruiser of World War I, is what it's being named after. So I like it, and we'll go with that. Here we go. Spanish Empire sent a telegraph, which clearly threatens us for war. Well, yeah, that's what we're after. Plus 15 naval prestige, minus 30 relations with the Spanish. That will put us at war with the Spanish. Here we go. We are not quite ready, but we're going to have to make this happen as best we can. So let's go ahead and take a look at their fleet. They've got 8 heavy cruisers, 13 light cruisers, and 8 torpedo boats. Only 29 ships. If there's anybody we were going to go to war with, it was going to be them or the Austro-Hungarians. Because everybody else has got crazy amounts of ships, especially the British. They've got 100 ships. So I feel like we can go toe-to-toe with them. Right now, we currently have 6 battleships, 10 heavy cruisers, which are old, the ones we started the game with, but they'll do. We've got 5 new ones on the way. Total tonnage, 136,000 tons versus the Spanish with only 61,000 tons. So that's good news. So let's go ahead and start moving. We're going to take the Baden, the Jane Lou, the Anne Frank, and the Johann Jacob Dauber, and we're going to move all 4 of those ships to, we're going to go right here. We're going to start moving on his ports. And I believe, is it Emden's the other one? Nope. Hamburg. There we go. So we've got a Bismarck, which is one of our not quite as good. You know, we're going to send these guys right down to Cadiz. Send the whole fleet. And let's see what happens. Well, now the Russians are at war with the Spanish. That's not ideal. Really was rather hoping to take them on one-on-one. Looks like we've got a battle against some transports, which we can only auto-resolve. It won't let us actually fight that. So it scores us a few victory points, but nothing really all that impressive. What we need are some real battles against his navy. And it looks like maybe... Oh yeah, we've got some heavy cruisers and light cruisers that are kind of hanging out right there. So what can we do about that? Let's take this fleet out here to take these guys on. See if we can't force an engagement. All right, after months of only being able to fight against transports, we finally got ourselves a battle, and it's a big one. 4 battleships of ours. None of our newer battleships, though, the ones that we built with, well, maybe, you know what, maybe a few of those are. And then we get the first Bismarck, the Rotterdam, and the Stauffenberg. We're going up against 3 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers, and 3 torpedo boats. We have never tested these ship designs in battle. So we're about to find out if they're good, if they're bad, if they need work. This is our first real test. So here's our fleet. Get our first real look at some of these ships. There's the Rotterdam right there. Really quite a beauty, I think. I should mention, if you haven't already heard me mention this, that they are adding multiplayer to the game with a DLC, downloadable content that you can buy, I believe next week. So that's going to be quite something. So taking a look at these are the old battleship designs here. The newer one, I believe, is the Bismarck and the Hildebrand are the newer ones. Slightly better design. They're kind of in the back, and then we've got first Bismarck, which is heavy cruiser right over here. So we're just going to kind of keep going with the fleet formation as it is. See if we can't hunt these guys down. They're over this way somewhere. All right, we've spotted them. Let's take a look. Can't really tell much about it yet until we identify it. Once we're able to identify the ship, we'll start to get a sense of what we're dealing with. He's coming straight at us at the moment. My light cruisers are on the other side. They are set to scout right now. We could get them. Looks like they are going to come in on the other side of us now. I'm actually going to put them on AI control for the time being. At some point I may change that, but I'm mainly going to focus on controlling my battleships at the moment. Hopefully we can score some hits. We're only looking at about a 5% accuracy at the moment. Let's go ahead and slow down to full speed. Usually we can get more accuracy that way. Oh, he just switched targets. got his light cruisers, I think. Those are light cruisers. Oh, that's a heavy cruiser there. I should probably... Yeah, we are focused on the heavy cruisers. There's 3 of them. We want to take them out first. If we can take out the heavy cruisers, there's not much danger to my battleships. And these heavy cruisers only have 6.7-inch guns, so there's really not even a lot of threat from them, unless there's a weakness that I'm not aware of with my battleships yet. Accuracy is so bad at this time period. We're going to have to get in closer, especially with him throwing smoke screens up. We've only got 100 rounds in the front gun, 217 on the other ones. They do have a lot of torpedo tubes on his light cruisers, so we have to be careful. I think we're out of range. Yeah, his torpedoes only have a 1 kilometer range. No way I'm getting that close. Alright, we scored our first hit. We'll see how much flooding these things take. Depends on how much protection they have. We are going to have to get in a little closer, though. 3 and 4 kilometers out just ain't going to do the trick right now with this technology. Maybe later on in the war, but not yet. I'm not entirely sure what these guys are doing. I put them on AI, and they've decided to apparently leave the battlefield. Alright, that's not going to fly. Alright, get back in here and fight. Same with these light cruisers. Let's send them in. See if we can't get something going. Alright, big hit. We just scored. I don't know if it's going to be enough to sink him, but we definitely are headed that direction. I'm going to take a look at these guys over here, because these are the better battleships anyway. Oh, another big hit. So he's on fire now. Oh, that one, he's toast. He's got to be. They're basically both just kind of sitting ducks at this point. We're just hitting with 4 battleships unloading on 2 light cruisers. You have to expect that. But it looks like... Okay, we got to be careful here, because it looks like he's sending his heavy cruisers at the other half of my fleet. And that's a concern. Because my battleships are falling a little behind now. Oh, the other one didn't sink yet. Alright, so let's keep an eye on things for a minute here. Just don't want to get into torpedo range. Alright, first Bismarck, I want you to start going after this light cruiser. Here comes Stauffenberg. Let's fire some smoke. Give it a little bit of protection here. Oh, Stauffenberg just took some hits. Yeah. Actually, he's holding up pretty well against them. They're only getting partial pen. Now he's falling out. Oh, boy. Some serious flooding going on. I think we might have just lost to Stauffenberg. Oh, no, no. All right, guess we're going to be building another Stauffenberg. Ah. I should never have put them on AI. I should have known better. It never ends well when you do that. And they went off and got completely separated from the rest of the fleet. And I paid for it. That was my fault. Lesson learned. Don't put them on AI. I feel like I've said that before when I've played this game. Alright. He's still got 2 heavy cruisers. Oh, all 3 heavy cruisers. Oh, no way. He just hammered the first Bismarck, too. What sank it? Heavy flooding. Jeez. Alright. Well, that's not ideal. Now the Rotterdam's going right in there. Oh my gosh. No. No, no, no. Don't make me lose 2 patron ships in the first battle. Please. Man, I screwed that up big time. Alright, I think Rotterdam's going to get to safety. So that's good news. I probably should have fired off some torpedoes while I was up there, but I didn't want to stay that close. Alright, so no sooner had I stopped recording than I landed an 11,000 damage hit on the San Geronimo and instantly sank it. So that's his first heavy cruiser down. So we're even on heavy cruisers now. So I'm maxing out my speed now. We're going to try to pursue these guys. I'm going to bring the Rotterdam up behind. At least keep them close. In case I need to send them in for a torpedo to finish somebody off. I'm going to try to finish off this torpedo boat real quick before it gets any thoughts about coming in too close. Looks like his heavy cruisers are going to turn around and start coming at me. Alright, I think we got the torpedo boat. Let's go ahead and start focusing on the heavy cruisers now. We'll worry about the light cruiser after that. We might get him with some of our secondaries anyway. We're down to just 9 rounds now with my 12-inch guns on the Alsace. We've still got a decent amount with all the others. It's just the Alsace that's going to run out. As soon as my other ships get in range, they'll take care of business with this guy. A lot of secondaries firing on his last remaining light cruiser. These big guns ought to be able to... He's almost out of 12-inch guns now too, or at least out of that's HE ammo. We can switch to armor piercing if we have to. Since it's about to be all I have anyway. Might get some overpen when we do that, but nothing I can do about that. You gotta be careful here because we're super close. At this range, he could get a shot that could blow somebody up. Alright, we sank his light cruiser. Yeah, this concerns me a little bit, how close he's getting in on me. Especially because he's got torpedoes. And now we're in torpedo range. I did not want to be there. Jeez, we are just hammering this guy. Oh, here come the torpedoes. Oh boy, it's going to hit me out in front. We're good there. Yeah, nice. It was a dud. Ah, I don't think it was going to hit me anyway. Jeez. Hammering him, but we're really not doing damage as well as I'd like. Alright, the Virgin's about to go up in flames. No, he's actually going to sink from flooding. Jeez, look at the range. We're at half a kilometer. We're 400 yards away from this guy. But I think we got him. We're definitely going to have to take this fleet back to port, though, to get some repairs and refit, because we used all our ammo. Alright, we got him. I don't like the fact that we lost those ships, though, especially because it was my own stupidity. So we lost the first Bismarck. We lost the Stauffenberg. But overall, 20,000 victory points to his 8,500. 400 crew lost to 1,800. 2 ships lost versus 9. And he already did not have a great size to his fleet. So let's take a look as we go ahead and wrap this first episode up. Let's take a look at where we stand with our fleets. Spanish government is asking for peace, and we are absolutely not going to do that. And I hope that my government will not insist on that, because we really haven't gained anything yet. I really want this to be a substantial victory that's going to gain us something long term. Otherwise, what was the point of it? So let's go ahead and take a look at politics. Spanish now have 3 heavy cruisers, 4 light cruisers, and 3 torpedo boats. One more battle, and they could be without a fleet altogether. I mean, that's how serious this is at this point. So we do need to, let's go ahead and go to ship design. We're going to build a Bremen class to replace the one that the Stauffenberg that we lost. And this will also be called, so this is going to be the Stauffenberg 2. I'm going to put the number because I think it would be kind of cool to see how many iterations of a ship we go through by the time the game is over. So we'll keep track of those patron ships that way. It might make more sense to do it as a Roman numeral, though. Maybe we'll do it that way. We'll select the port as Hamburg for that. And let's go ahead and, as the last thing we do before we wrap this episode up, I do need to find that fleet that was involved in that engagement. Where did they go? And make sure that we send them back to port. They may have already gone back. So I just had to zoom in really far to be able to find them because they were down here outside of Cadiz. So let's take a look at where we're at. You can see ammo. Actually, there's a decent amount of ammo left. It's just we ran out of all of our HE ammo. Fuel's decent. Damage isn't bad. So you know what? I think we'll keep them out there for now. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. I am recording at least 3 or 4 episodes this weekend. So after you guys see this first one, it's a great time to sign up if you want to be a patron and get a ship in the game before I go ahead and record episode 2, which will probably be sometime Saturday or Sunday. So let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below, and we'll be back with episode 2 very soon. Thanks for watching.